In a surprising shift, a wave of former Trump voters, many still identifying as lifelong Republicans, are publicly renouncing the ex-president and throwing their support behind the Harris-Walz ticket. From Wisconsin to Arizona, longtime conservatives are candidly expressing their disdain, no longer tolerating what they see as Trump's chaotic and divisive leadership. With each story that surfaces, it's clear this is more than just a political whim. It's a deep-seated disillusionment with Trump's values, policies, and behavior that goes against the grain of conservative ideals they once believed he upheld. Historically, Republicans have stood for limited government, fiscal responsibility, and strong family values. These principles, often emphasized by leaders like Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, and other prominent Republicans, have been pivotal to the party's identity for decades. However, Trump's presidency, marked by personal scandals, inflammatory rhetoric, and divisive policies, has strained this legacy. Today, even on traditionally conservative media outlets like Fox News, we're seeing discussions highlighting how Trump's actions deviate sharply from core Republican principles. Take Bruce from Virginia, for example, a former two-time Trump voter who now openly criticizes the former president. For Bruce, Trump's behavior and policy failures have led him to a point of reckoning. He describes Trump's leadership as weird and laments that, instead of focusing on policies, Trump seemed consumed by personal vendettas and, in Bruce's words, dresses up in garbage outfits and attacks the Puerto Rican community. For Bruce and countless others, the values they once associated with the GOP no longer align with Trump's approach. The loss of trust in Trump is particularly pronounced in swing states like Wisconsin, North Carolina, and Arizona, states he once counted on to secure his victories. Republican voters there, like Zach from North Carolina, are articulating their concerns with clarity and conviction. They're not just hesitant about Trump, they're downright appalled by his actions and their implications for American democracy. Zach's reasoning is especially poignant. A former Trump voter, he highlights Trump's responsibility in the violence of January 6th, pointing out that the president knew the crowd was armed yet encouraged them. For a party that has always associated itself with law and order, it's disturbing to see such loyalty to someone who blatantly disregards it, Zach remarks. He, along with numerous Republicans, is now supporting the Harris-Walz ticket, emphasizing a desire to restore dignity to the presidency and trust in American institutions. Kamala Harris, traditionally viewed as a progressive voice within the Democratic Party, might seem like an unlikely alternative for conservative voters. Yet, Harris and her running mate Tim Walz have managed to resonate with these former Trump supporters by emphasizing themes of unity, stability, and respect for democratic institutions. Amanda, a Republican from Arizona, speaks to this transformation. In her East Valley neighborhood, she often hears former Trump voters expressing their exhaustion with the chaos Trump brings. "We're Republican and he's crazy," she relays. "It needs to stop." Amanda sees Harris and Walz as candidates who prioritize respect for democratic norms, a stark contrast to the unpredictability and hostility they felt define Trump's time in office. In Virginia, Forrest, a retired U.S. Army veteran, echoed similar sentiments, citing Trump's derogatory comments about the military as a breaking point. "Voting for Harris-Walz doesn't make me a Democrat," he explains. "It makes me an American who values service, integrity, and respect." For Forrest and other veterans, Trump's actions aren't just offensive, they're unpatriotic. Republican women, in particular, have been vocal about their discontent with Trump. Susan Mulliner, a former representative from Staten Island, shared her frustration as a conservative woman. "Trump's abortion ban strips away rights our mothers fought for," she says, explaining why she and her husband, both lifelong Republicans, are now backing Harris. Mulliner recalls being proud of Reagan's initiatives for women and sees Harris as embodying a return to the pro-women values she once associated with the GOP. For Republican women across the country, Trump's rhetoric and policies on issues like reproductive rights, women's health, and female representation have been deal breakers. They view Harris as a leader who, despite party differences, respects women's rights and aligns with the values they were proud of under past Republican presidents. Republicans' resentment over Trump's attacks on institutions. Another significant factor in this shift is Trump's disdain for traditional American institutions. For voters like John from Wisconsin, Trump's disregard for democratic norms is unacceptable. A Navy veteran, John was once proud of his vote for Trump, but he now calls it the worst mistake of my life. For John, defending the Constitution is paramount, and he sees Trump's actions as an affront to the oath he took as a serviceman. Similar frustrations are echoed by Michael from Pennsylvania, who calls Trump's influence on international alliances dangerous. Michael, once a staunch supporter, is particularly critical of Trump's repeated attacks on NATO and allies. We need leaders who respect our alliances and understand that America's strength comes from its global relationships, he explains. The power of conservative voices against Trump. The influence of prominent conservative voices cannot be overstated. Bret Stephens, a conservative columnist for the New York Times, has also come out against Trump, underscoring a larger ideological issue. Trump's brand of conservatism is not traditional conservatism. Stephens warns that the GOP under Trump is veering toward blood and soil illiberalism, which prioritizes loyalty to a singular leader over allegiance to democratic values. This view resonates with disillusioned Republicans who worry that their party has lost its way, drifting from the principles of limited government and respect for individual freedoms. The Harris-Walz ticket is appealing to these Republicans by offering a vision of governance that emphasizes democratic values over partisanship. Harris's campaign has highlighted unity, healing, and a commitment to upholding the Constitution, values that resonate with Republicans seeking a return to stability. The role of Republican accountability groups. Republican accountability groups, like the Republican Voters Against Trump, are amplifying these stories. Through campaigns and billboards, they share testimonies from former Trump voters who now see supporting him as a betrayal of their values. Lori from Michigan, a former Trump supporter, now declares, "I'm a patriot, and I'm voting for Harris." She represents a growing number of Republicans whose patriotism has driven them away from Trump's divisive brand of politics. As we approach the next election, this wave of conservative voters stepping away from Trump is more than just a momentary shift. It reflects a fundamental transformation in American politics. For these Republicans, supporting Harris-Walz is about more than party lines. It's a commitment to preserving democracy and ensuring the dignity of the presidency. They view Trump's actions as a betrayal of the conservative principles they hold dear, principles that transcend political parties. The stories of Bruce, Zach, Amanda, Forrest, Susan, John, Michael, and countless others reveal a powerful shift that may well define the outcome of the next election. These voters, once solidly Republican, are voting their conscience, striving to close what they see as a chaotic chapter in American history. Their message is clear. The values they once cherished under the Republican Party are no longer aligned with Trump, and in Harris-Walz, they see a path to unity, stability, and respect for American ideals.